so I figured I'd run a commercial operation today with the Gold Hog matting. We've got the UR mats installed under expanded metal, and even under some large riffles. But you can see behind me, they're running two 9-horsepower pumps at full throttle. I had to figure out GPH on this, but I'm guessing at least 20,000 gallons per hour, maybe, my guess. But it's not a huge wide sluice. You're looking at about 20-inch wide sluice. So that's a lot of water. You can see from behind me, you can see that there's a lot of material going in here. A lot of water, slow, moderate feed rate, decent classification. I think one of the improvements we got to make here is we got to make an improvement on our classification. We still have a lot of rocks, large rocks going down this sluice. And if we're going to be running those large riffles, they're going to catch that. They're going to catch those larger rocks. So right now, what I'm trying to do is figure out a way also a little bit smoother. We're going to put this year they're going to install a trommel up here to help with that classification issue. But today on this load, we just have a lot of heavy rocks. This load is just full of rocks, river rocks, and all kinds of heavy overburden. So we're going to keep running here and see what it looks like in a minute. warm gloves at home, and I got water-filled hands. Hey guys, Doc again, and we're talking about water flow, but take a look behind me. That's a high banker there. We're at a commercial operation today. We're running material we're talking about the Gold Hog mat, high water flows, that's a lot of water. That's what I'm trying to point out. Again, there's a lot of water. But this is a pretty neat operation because we're actually using one stage up top, about 60 inches. Then we're going into a 3-stage sluice. Then we're going into one smaller sluice. Then it all gets kicked out and classified at the end. Now, in this particular operation, they also find a lot of emeralds and gems, so they'll actually go through the rocks here and look through that as well, too. Or at least I will. You can see over here, and I'm going to move the camera, they actually pump. They actually go, all their excess water is going into a holding pond. It's a 2-stage holding pond. So the initial water goes into a holding pond, and it has to drop down and settle into another holding pond. And these holding ponds are actually lined with rubber. So nothing's leaching into the ground, nothing's being lost. It's just a constant recirculation, and it's a lot less water than you might think. And I wanted to show you that real quick. See if I can get that turned around for you. So that's a lot less water than you might think for this kind of operation. So what we've got over here is we've got the main pond that comes over, water comes out, drops into a lower second pond over here, feeds into there, then goes in and goes back to the pumps over here, and goes back up into the trough. So it's really not a lot of water for this operation, but it's a great little separation point for all the heavies. Everything's going to come in here, and later they'll even double check and dredge this bottom at some point. They'll dredge it out and run a dredge in here, just to double check for gold. Hey guys, we talked about some of the rocks and the material we're running today, but I want to get a close-up of this tail end of this thing. You can see what we're talking about, the amount of rocks we've got in here. And it's beautiful looking stuff, because a lot of this is smooth river rocks. That's what we like to see. We like to see those round, smooth rocks. So that means that they're digging in the right spot. Matter of fact, I'm going to turn the camera right now so you can see it. Hopefully you can see that big old pile over there. But that's the material we're working. So what's that? About 2 or 3 buckets full. So we're talking about some decent material here. A lot of these rocks we're looking at are smooth river rocks. That's what we like to see. We like to see those worn river rocks. It tells us we're on some kind of channel over there, but man, there's a ton of rocks in this material. Oh, all right, so what we're panning out here is, we're actually panning out the top, which I normally never catch fine gold on it. And we're finding fine gold. This is just one little scoop out of about 5 gallons of concentrates. Here's the amazing thing. Let me get this on there. Here's what we're trying to show. We've got minus 100 gold. Minus 100 gold up in that top section right there and right there of that sluice, that power sluice. Minus 100's all over, nice little chunk here. But we're finding a bunch of fine gold in the upper section of that powerful sluice. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today, and I hope you had some fun on this little adventure. It's kind of cold. It actually only hit probably into the 40s. Of course, the weatherman was wrong. He said 50s. Typical. But enjoyed it and had a good install on the mats. Very short run. But something that was interesting about it was that normally on this third sluice bed down below on that 2-stage is where they normally see most of their gold, fine gold. So that was one of the mats that we attacked first when we went in to actually look for gold, and we found very little in there. So everyone was sort of eyeballing, sort of saying, wait a minute here, we're not seeing any gold. So we said, let's pull one of the very first mats. So that's what we did. We pulled that top mat, and when we pulled the top mat, it was kind of amazing to everyone because not only were we catching coarse gold up there, but we were catching minus 50, minus 100, very fine gold. So it was a good learning experience for everyone, that you can have extremely high water flow. They were even running riffles on top of this. We ran most of the setups with the UR mat, and on top of the UR mat we had expanded metal 1/2 inch, and then we went with their riffles. Even with the classification issues that I think they still have, you definitely need to get it's a newer configuration for them. But I was really happy. Top mat was only about 30 inches long with expanded metal and riffles on it, and it was getting clogged up a lot with heavy rocks, and it still managed to catch all that fine gold up high in the sluice, which is where we wanted to see it. We didn't want to see a bunch of gold, and especially fine gold, way down at the end of their sluice. We wanted to see that gold being caught up higher, and that's exactly where we caught it. So we were real happy with that performance test. So guys, we didn't get to do a cleanup, unfortunately. I wanted to show you a nice pan full of gold, but as you can tell, it's cold. Most of the water cleanup areas were frozen. The pumps were frozen this morning. We couldn't get them to prime. We had to thaw them out. So most of the cleanup areas were also frozen over. You know, would have loved to run some of that stuff through the gold cube and seen some of that fine gold, but unfortunately it's just a little bit too cold. And I'm about ready to get inside and get warm. So hope you had some fun. Hope you enjoyed something. We'll take you along. If we go to another one, we'll take you along with us, and maybe you can learn something along with us. Thanks again.